Good day, viewers. Once again, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yusuf Olayinka Shugbeson. So today we'll be talking about conducting a literature review. When we say literature review, it implies that we are talking about a systematic, analytical, as well as critical evaluation of scholarly works that is related to a particular research problem at any level, whether undergraduate, whether postgraduate level, masters or PhD. It is important that you do literature review because you have to demonstrate intellectual depth, you have to demonstrate theoretical grounding, as well as synthesize evidence and identify gaps. So that implies that literature review is now that foundation upon which the entire research is built, because it is going to help us understand existing knowledge as well as justify the contribution of your own endeavor, whether it is justifiable, researchable, and by the time you are done with your research, you're able to also explore or discuss your finding based on previous findings or previous research conducted by other authors or researchers. In conducting a literature review, you are going to ask yourself the following question: what is already known about this topic? What theories explain it? What method have they used or have been used by previous authors? What are the major findings? What are the contradictions? Then what are the gaps that remain, so that I can fill the gap? Because your research is meant to identify a gap and fill it. Now, as such, when you do a literature review, it will help you clarify the research problem very, very well. And it will help you provide theoretical grounding or basis for your work. It will also help you identify conceptual definitions or clarifications and establish the methodological trends, methods that have been used to explore the variable of your interest. It will also look at ongoing discourse, maybe debates, maybe contradictions that can then lead you to a gap that will help you justify your study, as well as inform how you hypothesize in your own endeavor. This literature review that we are talking about can either be a narrative review, where you just broadly describe something narratively, systematic review using a structure and replicable approach of searching and screening, scoping review where you just look at themes as they emerge and explore it interdisciplinary in many areas, or theoretical review where you can just examine some concept and theoretical foundation for a particular variable, or more importantly, it can also be empirical review where you look at previous research studies, what they have done, how they have done it, and what they found out. So more importantly, your literature review can be structured conceptually, theoretically, and empirically. Conceptually, you can have both conceptual review and framework, you can have empirical review and framework, as well as you can have theoretical review and framework rather, and empirical review. When you say conceptual review, that means you are looking at how previous research or authors have defined the variable that you are intending or exploring. What is the definitions that they have given to it, and what are the issues that they have said about it. Then conceptual framework will be a kind of guideline that helps us to establish interrelatedness of your concepts. Theoretical review will help you look at previous theories that have been established to explain that kind of variable. Then a framework, a theoretical framework will then be that theory that is now serving as a guide for your own work. Just like we have said, empirical review will allow you to explore what previous authors or researchers have done, how they did it, that's the methodology they used, as well as their findings. So empirical review establish evidence-based assertions for your what? for your variables that you are currently exploring. Let us now, more importantly, look at the steps by steps that you have to follow when you are conducting a literature review. The first thing is that you define the scope. You clearly define the variable that you are exploring, the population target, the geographical scope, the time frame, the sector, the industry, so that you will be able to know that, oh, this is my variable, this is the core indicators of this variable. I am going to explore it among so set of participants, and I am going to be limiting myself to a particular area, a particular geographical jurisdiction, time frame, as well as sector, maybe in the education sector, in the health sector, and so on and so forth. This will allow you to prevent unnecessary expansion of the review, because the review can be so rigorous. But because you want to be systematic, then the next step is that you develop what we call a search strategy. This search strategy, you can go ahead to use academic database online. You can also go ahead to use library sources where you get material manually. But a search strategy will give you indicators. Oh, is it that you are going to be looking at peer review articles published within a particular number of years, usually in English language or in particular geographical context, and it is going to be your variable that will determine the search strategy. Oh, if you are looking at a particular variable, you will then put those variable in another way, explain or explore them in such a way that you have a lot of articles that you will get directly or indirectly related to that variable that you are looking at. The third step is, after you have searched using your strategy, you will have a lot of articles that you have to do what? Screen and select articles based on their title relevance, based on their abstract relevance, based on the methodological strength or dimension, based on the citation credibility. When I'm saying this, its essence is that by the time you use your search strategy to get a lot of articles, a lot of research related to what you are exploring, then you'll be able to screen all these research endeavors, all these research articles based on whether the title is relevant, whether the abstract, because abstract will summarize the whole work, and from the abstract it will give you insight into whether or not it is relevant to your work. Methodologically, empirically, you can then know that, oh, this article is relevant, this one is not relevant. And citation credibility is also very vital. That implies that if you cannot cite a particular article or a particular journal or a particular manuscript, then it is not of essence for you to review it, because any review that you do, you have to be able to tell us where you get that source from. Then you read critically. At this level, you read such that you will be able to understand what are they saying, what is the definition of authors regarding that concept. How did they explain, or how did they define those concepts that you are exploring? What is the theory that they use? You will read critically to understand the theory that they use, the methodology that was adopted. Critically look at the strength and the weakness. What are their findings? Is it consistent with other studies? What are the limitations? So from this critical review or critical reading of every of those selected articles, after you have screened them out based on their relevance, then you then summarize and synthesize. Summarize and synthesize in such a way that it will allow you to also tell us what is happening, your own view, the implication of all those things, and it will make sure that you are not just jumping from one quotation to another, from one citation to another. You will interact with it integratively. So that implies that you are going to summarize all what you have read, what so said, what they found out, how did they did it, what explanation have they provided. Then you can put in your own explanation and link it with all other related authors that have said the same thing, similar thing, dissimilar thing, that is in tandem or in contradiction. So it will be summary and synthesizing simultaneously, because your synthesizing will help you to connect these ideas across studies. When we say we have various type of literature review, we mention narrative, systematic, scoping, empirical, and theoretical. So let us specifically look at literature review that has to do with conducting a systematic review. A systematic review is a rigorous, transparent, and replicable method of identifying, evaluating, and synthesizing all relevant research evidence on a particular or clearly defined research question. Unlike the narrative reviews, it follows a structured protocol that minimizes bias and enhance reliability. So it is widely used in social sciences, education, business, and research or policy research because it is guided by what we call the PRISMA framework. PRISMA is preferred reporting items for systematic reviews and meta-analysis. So a systematic review is comprehensive enough, is transparent enough, is reproducible and evidence-based. So when you conduct a systematic review, you will know that you are conducting a review that is comprehensive, that is transparent, that is replicable and evidence-based. And let us look at what are the steps that you also have to specifically follow if you are conducting a systematic review. You first of all define your clear question. Oh, what is my research question? I am trying to specifically look at a particular thing. I'm comparing a particular incidence. I'm exploring a particular outcome. So that would be that your question should follow the what we call the PICO framework, the population, the intervention, the comparison and outcome framework. Then you develop what we call a review protocol. So your protocol should tell us the research question, the database that you want to search, the keywords that you use to search them, the inclusion criteria, as well as the exclusion criteria, and how you will extract your data and ensure quality of the assessment method. You will assess the data that you have extracted and ensure that you transparently improve the findings that you will get out. When I say transparently, that means you will give quality assessment methods that will help us understand how you are able to come out with any finding or otherwise. These are your protocols. It will tell us the research question, the database that you are going to look for, the keywords, as well as the inclusion and exclusion criteria, how you will extract your method, how you will do your quality assessment. So identifying the database is such that you will identify online database such as Scopus, Web of Science, Google Scholar, Science Direct, PubMed, ResearchGate, etc. so that you can comprehensively search for issues related to your variable. Then you develop a search strategy that will at least tell us, are you looking for a particular variable compared to another variable, your independent variable, your independent and dependent variable. Then you will filter it based on your search strategy, the year, the language, the article type, whether it is qualitative, whether it is quantitative, whether it is peer reviewed, whether it is published, whether it is unpublished, whether it is just a document. So all this one will form your what? Your search strategy. Remember, you are doing or conducting a systematic review. So the next step will be screening and selecting. You are going to be screening in 3 stages. You will screen it based on the title. Is the title clearly relevant to what you are exploring? You are going to also be screening it based on the abstract. Is the abstract aligning with the research question? You are also going to be screening it based on the full text. You will confirm the eligibility by looking at the full text, applying both the inclusion and exclusion criteria consistently. Then use the Prisma flow or Prisma flow charts. You will identify you will record, you will screen, you will tell us how many were you able to search initially, how many passed the inclusion criteria, how many failed did not pass the exclusion criteria. Then which one eventually do you assess and which one finally was reviewed. That one will give us a flow chart to tell us what and what you have done. See, when you talk about exclusion criteria or inclusion criteria, it will help you us streamline. Is it that you are going to exclude conference abstracts, editorials, etc., or non-empirical papers? Is it that you are going to be including a particular article that is published in a particular geographical location, a particular time frame, whether it is published in a particular language, and so on and so forth. Then the next is you extract your data. You tell us the authors, the year, the country, the sample size they use, the method that they explore, the key findings, as well as the limitations. This will help you to consistently extract both the study design, the sample characteristics, the variables that is being measured, the analytical methods that are being used, as well as the key result of findings. Then you can assess the quality of all this by doing inter-rater review. You look at the sample size, the research design, all this one, the validity and reliability, the statistical rigor, all these ones will be based on a particular checklist among authors, if you are more than one, or reviewers, so that you will not be having subjectiveness in your exploration or in your systematic review. Then finally, once you are able to assess the quality of what you have gotten out through evidence based on other reviewers, then you can do what we call data synthesis. It's either you do the qualitative synthesis or you do the quantitative synthesis. Qualitative synthesis will help us look at the themes of those studies, group them in teams, identify the pattern, compare the patterns across board, and discuss contradiction. That's qualitative synthesis. But the quantitative synthesis will look at the what? The results, like a meta-analysis. Then it will help us combine the effect size of all those results. You put them together and you will calculate the pool estimate, as well as you will compute your statistical power and conclude based on your meta-analytical results. Then you report your finding. You report it in a clear methodology. That methodology will tell us the search strategy that you use, your inclusion criteria, your screening criteria, how many eventually scale through. That's going to be your methodology. Your flow chart or flow diagram will summarize them. The findings will then be the summary of everything that you have done, maybe qualitatively or quantitatively. So as such, your systematic review will then be reported in abstract, introduction, methods, result, and discussion section. And that will tell us that you are going to be, in your method, you are going to be telling us your protocol, your search strategy, your inclusion criteria, your screening process, your quality assessment. Then your result will tell us the Prisma diagram, the study characteristics, and the synthesis, both qualitatively and quantitatively. So as such, you may face challenge because of too much search results, too much inconsistency in methodology or publication bias. But all this one, ethically, you must avoid plagiarism, you must cite properly, and avoid selective reporting. Just because any study eventually that you have searched, screened, and fulfill your inclusion criteria, you must report what you have there. This will make your systematic review comprehensive, evidence-based, policy relevant, and it will help you reduce bias in your judgment, as well as identify research gap clearly. Thank you for listening.